Welcome, welcome, travelers and tale seekers, to the tavern, where we gather around the digital hearth to share secrets, unravel mysteries, and dive deep into the realms of imagination. Pull up a chair and grab a tankard of your favorite brew, and get ready for a journey through the lands of anime, manga, literature, and truly all of your beloved tales. But here in the tavern, secrets aren't just whispers in the night. They're the heart of our merry gathering. They transform you from a mere spectator into a sage of stories and a master of lore. So let your worries fade, your curiosity reign, and your laughter fill the air as we embark on an adventure filled with camaraderie, discovery, and of course, all the tales you can handle. Because in the Tavern of Tales, we don't just talk about our favorite media, we truly live and breathe them. Join me and your beloved co-host for another adventure into tales and media. Welcome to the Bard's Tavern Talk. So, welcome to tonight's conversation. I am the Bard.
And I'm the Rogue.
And tonight we are going to be running down a list of 25 of what we would consider the best D&D baddies of all time. When I say we, I'm talking about me and whoever wrote an article that I read for 4 hours while deciding which ones I agreed with.
Didn't see that coming at all.
So I have to I don't know as much about the bestiary as I should, so I have to constantly look things up and read. So I went through this for a while. We have some dear friends who we'll talk about here in a moment, and they have inspired me to learn more about the lore, because I wanted to do some Dungeons and Dragons episodes anyway, but I really wanted to do some Dungeons and Dragons episodes after talking to these guys. I have an interest in some of just reading some of the original books, the just the little bits of story they throw in. It makes me happy. It tickles my brain, and I absolutely love it.
Oh, there's a ton of lore in D&D if you're interested in that kind of stuff.
I love it. I'm still with the beasts. I got to get through some of the monsters, because some of these guys, like, just the lore around some of these monsters that only exist for a short period of time, their story by itself is just, we're going to get into one of them. It blows my mind that somebody sat down and came up with this. I've always believed that the human mind could only come up with variations of things it's already seen at the point that we are. And it would take a special mind to come up with something new. But D&D has proven that theory wrong.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for example, how about a Hydra dragon? Like, that's a god.
Right. So, why don't we get into our first baddie?
Okay.
Mind Flayers.
Okay. So Mind Flayers are really cool. These guys are basically, they eat brains and thoughts, but the best way that they do it is by hiding in like dark caves. So these are kind of like the aliens of D&D lore. Like, their whole thing is to hide in caves and be like, "Ooh, adventurers, they have delicious brains." But they're also, like, culturally, they possess a hive mind, right? So any decision that they know about, all the other things know, or all the other mind flayers know about it. And then, to make it worse, they're slavers. So what's really cool is, once upon a time, in the D&D lore, they had enslaved an entire race of giths, and they were using them basically for food storage and manual labor. It's really cool. Like I love mind flayers.
This is pretty awesome. It says that they're plane travelers,
Yeah.
and they inhabit the depths of the Underdark.
Yep. So the Underdark, and just for those of you who aren't familiar with D&D, the Underdark is basically anything that's underground. Like any inhabitants that are underground in like cave dwellings and whatnot. Usually, if you go a little bit deeper than the cave dwelling, and I mean by a little bit, I mean like a couple more inches on the proverbial map deeper, it gets like plants start to shine light. Mushrooms will become what's the word I'm looking for? Not translucent. It's where you produce light. Bioluminescent. And that's where all the weird, creepy, scary monsters are at.
I think they look pretty cool. I like them so far. I think that's a neat one to start with. But that's our 25. That's our number 25. Is the Mind Flayers. The pronounce that for me. Illithid. Illithid.
Yep.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were describing a town nearby, and they said it all robotic, and I got like angry,
super
deep
cringy.
Inside. Oh, it's just my face contorted. You could see my disgust from outside of the car.
Oh, that's
it's Vider.
Oh,
and now I feel that like the way that we say it is very hick.
Vidor.
And that's exactly how he said it, is Vidor. It's Vidor. All right, so next is Dragatha, the Death Dragon.
You want to take this one, or do you want me to go on a tangent about fucking dragon liches?
Okay, so I'm going to read what this guy has written here. As a former consort of Tiamat, Dragatha used to be a powerful ancient red dragon, and it was more than 2,000 years ago. After defeating one after another of his rivals, powerful dragons wanting his position beside Tiamat, Dragatha one day was challenged and again slayed a dragon who was secretly Tiamat's son. Fearing the fury of his goddess, Dragatha fled to Oerth. That's where things start to get interesting. I was having a trouble like pronouncing the names. You mean it gets more interesting from there? Knowing that Tiamat would send her servants to end his life, Dragatha made a pact with Caius, the demigod of death, promising to serve him in exchange for eternal life. As Tiamat's servants came after him, Dragatha was slayed, and after that risen as a Dragolich by Caius. The dragon felt betrayed by the worm that walks and retired to an isolated canyon to plan his revenge. Every century or so, Dragatha comes out of his hiding to release his fury upon this world, meanwhile trying to plan the destruction of Caius, Tiamat, and their respective cults. Dragatha's lair is one of the most terrifying places in the Greyhawk setting, being crowned with powerful and undead under the Dragolich's control and containing several necromantic spells ready to drain the life of unprepared adventurer. I'm sorry, I have a kid up my butt right now.
So what's really cool is I don't know if you've ever read up on like how you become a lich, which it's never explicitly stated how you become a lich. Like nobody really knows the ritual except for gods in the pantheon for D&D. But Draco liches are terrifying. And the reason being is because A, they've lived for thousands of years past their life expectancy. And then on top of that, they don't have a soul bound to their body. Their body can be regenerated at will. And what makes it even worse is now, like, okay, so they bond their souls. So after you do this horrible ritual, right? after you do this horrible ritual, uh, your soul gets bound to a phylactery. And a phylactery is just an item that bonds your soul to the plane so that your body can keep living.
Right.
Like, these things are so disgusting that even things that are unnatural and undead look at lichdom and go, wait a minute, that's fucked up. I have to instinctually kill that thing. So Dracoliches are so fucked up that even things that are like unnatural and undead go, wait a minute, that's fucked up. That thing's gotta go. I don't like it. Yeah. And if you're undead and you're looking at another undead creature and being like, you can't exist, that's kind of fucked up. Like,
I mean, the whole thing is kind of fucked up. That I feel like dragons were so OP in the first place. This is just so unnecessary.
Oh yeah.
Have I mentioned hordes of undead walking around this lair? I love the way that this guy writes, and I love that immediately the next person that we have to talk about. This is the one that I talked about. That I was like, this is a unique thing. The worm that walks, Caius.
Anytime you see a specifically named person in D&D lore, that guy is a badass. like that guy is terrifyingly badass.
See, I wasn't aware that magic was rare in D&D. Like that, like your villager doesn't just have like a magic user fucking hanging around or something. They see a magic user and they're like, what?
No, you to learn magic, you typically attend to college.
So I'm going to read a short part of this. More known by his creations, the spawn of Caius. Caius is an elder evil, according to the ancient prophecies, and many of them have been confirmed by his cultists. He will be the herald of the age of worms. I'm sorry. What? And can I get a big helping of nope with that? Age of worms?
Oh, yeah.
A time when the undead will rise and destroy the world. So... No, I can't say stuff like that. Also known as the Bone Master, the Worm God, and the Worm that Walks. See, this all could be turned into a sexual thing.
Oh, for sure.
The Bone Master. I am the Worm God and the Worm that Walks. They could be like just uncircumcised dick jokes.
Oh, yeah. Non-stop, bro. Non-stop.
His symbol is a skull erupting with writhing green worms.
Ew.
I don't know.
Can anybody say gonorrhea?
Gonorrhea. Oh my god. Okay, so once there was a high priest of Orcus, infamous for plundering corpses from necropolises to create his first spawns. What the fuck is a necropolis?
I don't know. Hang on. To the Google.
Entertainment rectangle.
You spell necropolis.
Look, it's right there.
NECRO.
POLISES. Necropolises. Is that just like a mass grave? Bunches of bodies?
That's a necropolis. A necropolis is a cemetery. Especially a large one belonging to an ancient city.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. He was exiled from society. Yeah, we are dumb. I feel bad for looking that up. We're gonna have to leave that in.
It's necropolises, by the way, not necropolises. Because we English.
I can't read no good. I'm sorry. Look, so I noticed that my texting skills were my spelling skills were suffering because I didn't have to spell so much because my text would always fix it, and I spent most of my time texting, right?
Yeah.
So I dumbed my texting down. I removed the autocorrect, and I removed the all of the auto everything. So now it's all completely manual. Like when I text something to you, it's if it looks like shit, it's probably because I'm doing other things.
Right.
But I noticed how bad my spelling had gotten.
Oh God, yeah, mine too.
And so I started to. I mean, it helps doing that. Anyone that starts to feel like they're getting dumb, they need to do this. They need to really do this. And reading to your kids help you, with it well.
Oh,
Anyway.
for sure.
Oh God.
Oh,
So-
what gets me is grammar. My grammar is absolutely horrible unwritten.
Because I write short notes all the time. I don't write long notes. So anything I write, it looks terrible. And I've started, anyway, crapping on ourselves. See, this guy's negativity is infectious.
Yeah. Well, at least we're crapping on ourselves about something that everybody else has a problem with too.
Yeah, right. It's just we're all getting dumb. The worm that walks is seen as a 30-foot, 9-meter tall giant comprised of shifting mass of maggots and worms.
That'll get the ladies excited.
Oh, yeah. He can increase or decrease his size at will. He's infamous for creating the spawn of Caius, a type of zombie who spreads its condition through worms. It is responsible for turning Dragatha into a Dragolich. It is an elder god and an elder evil. Caius doesn't need to be fought personally to make for an incredible villain, since his spawns only in stories speak for him. This is
an
pretty
interesting
cool.
character.
That is an interesting character. I like this.
Like, that would be an interesting way to introduce like a big baddie in your campaign. Would be like, oh yeah, so the guy never actually sets foot on the battleground, but that's because he's too badass.
Yeah,
Like,
right. He can't be there. Like, can
Him
you
ex-
imagine?
his existence somewhere else is far more important. Like,
I'm sorry. Yes, you're fighting him, and he sees you as a threat, but you still don't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, so his name's a bitch. Exclavdra. Eclavdra? What is that?
I think I want to say with Eclavdra.
Eclavdra, Exarch of Lolith. This whole this whole thing makes me feel like I can't read.
So Loth is a really cool god. He's an evil god, or it's either he or she, but they're an evil god, and they are what give the Driders, the spider people, the spider centaurs. They're usually made from Drow, which are like underdark elves.
Did you say spider centaur?
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh yeah, they're pretty gnarly. They're hard to look at. Like, Google it real quick. Yeah, like it's the Drow, or the Drow, however you pronounce it. They worship this thing, and it's fucked up. Like, their whole society is based on that. That's like, they're big slavers. They have rules in society where you kind of kill what you keep, but if you get caught, it's against the law. Like, they're like, oh yeah, go ahead. It's like, it's kind of like laws that are like, yeah, we enforce them, but we don't really believe in that shit. Like,
oh my god, how dare my computer. I Google searched that, and instead of it sending me to Google, I just typed in the search bar like I would normally do. Yahoo search. I didn't even know how to say Yahoo. I haven't said Yahoo in so long.
oh, it's because your default browser is set to Yahoo, or your default search engine.
No, sir.
You can change that in Chrome.
Did something dumb and I clicked some. Oh, they are ugly. Wow.
Yeah, I told you they're hard to look at. Like,
what is with the mouth thing going on here?
oh yeah, they're something else.
Yeah, no.
Uh, and what's really funny is those aren't that uncommon. Like, they're intelligent creatures, so they're not that uncommon to see in the Underdark and in close proximity to Drow encampments or Drow cities.
Yeah.
And if you get turned into one, it's not a curse; it's a gift from Lolth.
The gift I do not want.
Yeah.
I did not ask for that crap.
Yeah.
So,
I forgot you had like crippling fucking arachnophobia too.
A long time ago, I did. I've since kind of dealt with it, but I still am not a big fan of them. Oh God, crap all over that. How do you call a drow princess of Lolth who betrayed her mistress and was lately rewarded for that? Why does this guy write this way?
I don't know.
And has been a servant to the elder elemental eye, a consort of Grozd, an ambassador of Grozd and Iuz. I'm just gonna spell it. And the main antagonist in several adventures and novels of the Dungeons and Dragons universe.
Yeah.
I call it an astonishing villain. Eklavra is a drow of exceptional beauty and ambition who was a major villain in Gygax's Gord the Rogue novels and appeared in G3 Hall of Fire Giant King, being the first drow ever named in D&D after betraying Lolth not once but twice. She won her place at the side of the Demon Queen, proving she had intelligence and guile to outwit a cunning goddess.
Oh, I know who this is. So, for those of you who actually have a monster manual for D5 5th edition, go look up the patron mother that's in the D&D monster manual. Which, by the way, take a look at that stat block, dude. That chick is brutal. Yeah, she is a patron mother, and she is not meant to be trifled with. Like, dude, her CR is a 20.
Damn.
Yeah, that's okay. So for once again, those of you who don't play Dungeons and Dragons, CR, while it was about as accurate as a blind man pissing into a thimble from 20 feet away, it's balanced so that 3 people have to fight this thing at that level. So anytime you see a monster, they're 3 times stronger than you. So imagine a 20th level thing that can mow over godlike characters that you build. Like, this thing will mow over you. They are badasses.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
Also, I love that in the margins of everything that I look up now, there's like Lady Death everything because of our last episode.
Nice.
It's like that could be all of my ads. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, like, I don't see that as a punishment at all.
Right. That's something I'm okay with this. That's probably gonna make me buy some stuff.
Yeah.
Eklavdra has been given immortality and divine power as the Exarch of Lolth, as a reward for betraying the goddess twice, since Lolth is the mistress of lies. She has a powerful tentacle rod. Sex toys. A relic of her days, serving as the elder elemental eye. Personal sexual servant. She is described as being incredibly beautiful, but with terrifying cruelty and a total lack of compassion.
Actually, if you Google the artwork for her, it's actually really cool. It's interesting. Like, she has a spider dress, like a spider silk dress on, and the dark pale, or the dark, like, almost bluish black skin. Features aren't bad looking though. Just throwing that out there.
Right.
If we're gonna do a fine game, girls, like on D&D characters, she's in the top 10.
Definitely. We missed that show. If it would come back, I'd be very happy, man.
Right.
It would be a great podcast.
Oh yeah.
She is a smart villain who is always scheming from behind the scenes and manipulating others on her favor. Eklavdra allied herself with Grazd against Loth in order to grab power in the Abyss, only to later seduce him and betray him to regain the favor of Loth. Eclavdra acted as an ambassador to the court of Iuz the Evil. Oh, look, there it is. Eclavdra's stats can be found at Loth's entry in the Monster Manual 3 of the 4th edition of D&D. Her stats of Exarch make her a powerful foe, but it is her guile and charm that makes her such a special villain to face on your campaigns. Oh, I know that guy.
Oh, I stepped away for a second.
Oh,
You know what guy?
this guy,
That guy.
the Xanthar.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the Xanthar. I think he's the top tier of like what a beholder can become.
Yeah. If you've been playing the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons recently, you have probably heard of the Xanthar's Guide to Everything. This is the Xanthar we're talking about. If beholders by themselves make incredible antagonists, the Xanthar overcomes all expectations by being the most renowned beholder in all of Faerun. Faerun? Faerun. Or beholders, since Xanthar is not actually a name but a title. The Xanthar is the leader of the Xanthar's Thieves Guild in Waterdeep. So that's pretty badass.
Yeah. So on top of being, one of the most powerful beholders ever, he's also a guild leader, which takes away from their xenophobia.
Love it.
Yeah, like there's like. You should look up beholder lore. It's kind of funny. They're a funny creature.
I like the beholders. I really do.
Actually, the guy that created it, because they didn't show up until 2nd edition. The guy that created the beholder saw one in a dream.
It made itself real.
Yeah, and that's how it became part of the lore for them. So for a beholder to exist, a beholder has to have a dream of a beholder existing. That's how subconsciously powerful beholders are. They can create beholders just by dreaming of beholders.
I think you've actually told me that before.
Oh yeah, they're fucking cool, man. Like uglier than sin, but they're cool.
In the beginning, a beholder, just called the Eye, founded the Agents of the Eye, a criminal organization that led it from the background. His existence almost forgotten, he then discovered another beholder leading the Xanthar's Thieves Guild, stole his precious notes, killed him, and unified the organizations, assuming control of all criminal business in the Undermountain and subjugating every other beholder in the region under his command. After the death of the Eye, several other beholders assumed the title of the Xanthar, some more paranoid or tyrannical than others, but the Xanthar will always be a name to be recognized and respected as one of the crime lords of the greatest power in the Sword Coast.
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah.
He's cool looking. It's a big eye with little eyes. I like it.
And the stalks to go with it.
The Xanthar's game guide stats are actually not important since it's the name behind it that really represents the villainy, but if the DM so wishes, any variant of the beholder might suit his needs. Cool.
Okay, so I was wrong. Okay, so the Xanthar is not a title amongst beholders, but a title.
Yeah, well, it is a title.
Yeah, but it's not he's not like a god.
No, he's just like the leader of a criminal organization.
Yeah.
This guy, Hallister Blackcloak, the Mad Mage. Deep under the city of Waterdeep lies the Undermountain, an enormous and extremely dangerous dungeon created and maintained by the Mad Mage Hallister Blackcloak. Nobody really knows where he is from or how old he is, but rumors tell that he is more than 1,000 years old. One thing that everyone knows for sure, Hallister is completely fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Fucking love it.
Yeah. When mad mages.
Oh, I can't wait to start talking about some of the other insane characters. When he's inside the Undermountain, Hallister mutters to himself, is constantly distracted, and has visions only he can comprehend. Outside of his lair, he seems to recover his lucidity when he shows signs of honor and nobility. Still, he's meticulous and thoroughly evil. His plans go from governing Waterdeep from the backstage to spreading his dungeon across other parts of Faerun. So he's noted as an highly intelligent wizard, although completely mad. His madness might make him look like he's just a lunatic, but sometimes it is terrifying to testimony. That is this guy writes weird. I bet English was not his first language.
That seems to be a common denominator amongst the articles that you look up.
Well, don't judge me. Lives in one of the most dangerous.
I'm judging you harshly right now.
I knew it was coming. He is in one of the highest level adventures in 5e. I actually knew that already. In the 3 to 5th edition, Hallister Blackcloak was the 25th level mage with 5 levels of Archmage. Has a glimpse of his powers as described in the Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage adventure. We must check his stats. I'm not going through all that other stuff. What do you know about this one?
Ooh, I don't actually.
So, I didn't know anything about this. I had to look it up, and I didn't get very far, but I immediately felt like this was a good fit here. Thorasden, god of eternal darkness. In ancient times dwelled a god so evil, so harmful to the multiverse, that deities of all alignments bound him away for all eternity. Thorasden, the god of eternal darkness, decay, entropy, and malign knowledge, insanity and cold. Also called the Chained God. His symbols are dark spiral rune and 2-tiered inverted ziggurat known as the Obex. Like, just that first paragraph, it's like, ooh, edgy. Although Thorasden has been imprisoned, he's kept a good portion of his powers, having a divine rank of 11 out of 20. He acts mainly by the work of his cultists, with whom he communicates through dreams and bouts of madness. The cultists of Thorasden aim for the return of their god, making evil rituals and sacrifices, prophesying the end of days. Some might call him the Elder Elemental Eye, or Elder Elemental God, but not all of them agree that they are the same entity. Maybe it's all just part of the god's plan. Like, his whole thing is just absolutely everything must rot.
Oh, yeah.
He is considered dangerous to the existence of the entire multiverse, being also called the Ultimate Doom, the Armageddon Trigger, patron of madmen, the hopeless and the unspeakable vile. In an attempt to avoid his return, the gods destroyed his temples and all memories of him. Still, his cult lives, and they know someday he is meant to return. All of his worshippers are mad, and they only wish to release him from his exile. They are capable of everything in order to achieve their goal. And Thorasden is the ultimate representation of evil, enemy by itself, the typical arch-villain. He resembles Cthulhu, the famous elder god described in H.P. Lovecraft stories. The stories are about mad cultists of an ancient being contacted through their dreams and returned. Their herald of doom are just the same. So I like him. I want to throw him in a story somewhere. I think he's pretty cool.
Yeah, it just seems a little one-dimensional. That would be really the only problem I would have, was making that character interesting, because it seems like he's just one-dimensional Saturday morning cartoon. You know, I want to destroy all of the things. But in order to do that, I have to destroy all of the things.
Maybe there's more story there. We should look into that some more.
Oh yeah, for sure. Do a deep dive.
Do a deep
Character
dive.
analysis. And for once, the scrolls had foretold.
Igwilv. Say that name. Igwilv?
Yeah, I want...
Iggwilv.
Jesus,
The Witch Queen.
I feel like...
We're just going to call her Iggy.
Yeah. Like, I feel like they just kind of, like, get a drum and just throw it down a stairwell, and the noises that it makes are how they pronounce the... Like, how they pronounce the...
I can see that happening.
The noise that sticks out, that's the name.
I like it. If there's a type of villain that I particularly adore, it is the seductive bitch witch. Suddenly his English got a lot better.
He's been writing this for a few years now.
Right. Iggy fulfills that role perfectly. She is a disciple of Baba Yaga and Yag, a member of the Company of Seven under the name of Tasha, and the consort of Gragst, another one. The mother of Iuz. Oh, so this is the one. So that's how we know he got that shitty name. But I guess she thought she was doing him a favor with a name like Iggs whatever. She was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna give this kid 3 letters. It'll be way better." The author of the Demonomicon and the ruler of the Perrin lands and rival of the Demogorgon. What else can one desire in a villain? She's got a lot of... You asked for some more dimensions. There's some more fucking dimensions for you, buddy.
Man, that's... Wow, that was a paradigm shift from one end to the other.
Right?
Like, that's nuts.
Wow. She's manipulative, intelligent, and a great... She sounds like my ex-wife. She had upon a world. She's a sorceress of great power and possesses vast amounts of magical artifacts and has simulacrums of all the words, simulacrums of herself walking this world. She is also allied with demons, or she directly controls some, and she can spy on the abyss through the iron flask of Turney, which contains a portion of Demogorgon essence.
Once again, just so we're clear, the abyss is hell. Like, there's 666 layers to D&D's hell. But yeah, just anytime you hear the abyss be brought up, it's hell.
As a disciple of Baba Yaga and later the Archmage Ziggs, she is a sorceress of immense power and knowledge. After having a complex relationship with Zig, Iggy and the wizard imprisoned the demon prince. What? There's a lot of letters in there.
Yeah.
Fraz Urbelu. What? Fraz Urbelu? Nope. Not even going to go there. So, Fraz, from whom she learned several dark secrets. From her... No. She is featured in several books and magazines in the Adventures of D&D universe. You should go look her stuff up, because I'm not reading any more of her weird little bullet points. Because I can't pronounce half of that.
Oh my god, yeah. I feel like I need to go back and rerun Jesus, and then the next one.
Yeah, but look at his figure. He's awesome.
We're just going to call him the High Priest of Bane, but it's
Fazul Kimbrel. It's Fazul Kimbrel. Fazul is kind of a cool name.
Yeah, a little bit.
One of the most important and easily recognizable names of the Forgotten Realms campaign setting is Fazul, the High Priest of Bane, the cruel god of tyranny, and one of the leaders of the Black Network, the Zentrum. Highly dedicated to the service of Bane, Fazul was rewarded by his god by becoming the Exarch after death. He now has the powers of a demigod whose sphere of influence is service to evil.
Saturday morning-ish.
I kind of dig it though. I like him. Well, he's supposed to be the bad guy. Extremely ambitious and intelligent, Fazul started his career as a common priest of Bane, but thanks to his schemes and skills, he quickly became the high priest of the church and then joined Zentrum, still under command of Manshun. After allying with Lord Aragoth, Fazul managed to kill and remove Manshun from the Black Network's leadership. Fazul turned the organization into a great cult to Bane, which was cause of conflict among its members. The Archpriest had to fight the worshippers of Cyric, Bane's rival, as well as many other clones of Manshun that arose after his death. He finally died fighting the Shadavar in the name of his god, for which he largely rewarded with the status of Exarch. I think he's kind of cool.
Yeah.
This is when I was kind of getting excited for right here. But before we get there, I have a special mention. I want to thank our friends in the UK.
Oh, are those awesome guys that were talking to you?
They are our friends at the Rogue and Bard in the United Kingdom. Make these awesome accessories for D&D campaigns. You should give them you should go look at their Instagram. I think they also have a website. If you go to Instagram, you can find it. We're gonna tag them in this episode, make sure that their link is visible at the bottom wherever this episode is posted. They're sending us some starter kits, and we're going to be doing a review of their starter kits as well as another few D&D episodes.
That's awesome. Look at that character sheet.
Oh wait,
I mean, that's sick.
And then they're just such the craftsmanship.
So crispy.
I love
it.
I'm excited. I haven't been excited about something like this in a long time.
So while we're on this tangent, okay, I grew up playing D&D on literally notepads with random notes strewn across it. And then, third edition comes along and we're playing out of these massive, the back of the book for the player's guide had a character sheet that you could Xerox and print out, right?
Right.
This, seeing the level that
the level of work sheets, and love.
Oh my God, this is such a labor of love. And look, it says right there, it's dry erase.
Look, they've got almost plastic free July because saving the world shouldn't be a fantasy.
That's beautiful.
We just used our character journals. We used to send our character journals out in plastic bags. They were biodegradable, but not as much as we thought. So we ditched those in favor of our card. See that? See that you right there? That's because they're from the
UK.
Yeah.
They spell everything wrong.
Ooh, don't talk bad about the sponsors. Be good. Now we're looking at retail packaging and focusing on eco-friendly and recyclable options. We can't completely escape plastic quite yet, but every time we invest in new products or packaging, we try to find the most eco-friendly and sustainable options possible. These people have been really, really awesome. They have been, every time we talk to them, they are very kind. They offer to give us some starter kits, and I'm going to put their name on just about everything we do and try to push them as far as we can.
Oh, absolutely.
They have made this a lot of fun.
God. Look at that. That's so cool.
Isn't that so cool? I love it. I've fallen in love with them for the first time I've seen them. And when I sent a message out to begin with, I never expected the kind of people that they are to just be so open and willing to work with us.
That's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to working with them in the future, and I can't wait to get my hands on one of these character sheets. I'm gonna tear that up. By D&D Beyond, I'm going back to paper and pencil.
Oh yeah. No, I'm very, very happy.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
And they're not expensive too. Okay, so check it out. Let's go to the website.
Yeah, let's do a tour for the listeners.
So it's www.rogueandbard.com. Okay, so now as cool as they are, right? You expected them to be pretty expensive? Just wait.
I love how there's literally no moral posturing. Like
Exactly.
if you look at their site, they're not like we do it better than D&D.
No,
they're like
they're just offering a really awesome product, and if you're interested, they're interested in helping you.
Yeah.
See the starter kit, which you want to start playing Dungeons. I'm reading from their website. It says you want to start playing Dungeons and Dragons. Look for an upgrade for a friend or gift for a friend. Take a look at our ultimate starter kit with a character journal, combat tracker whiteboard, and guide to D&D folder. You'll be ready to hop into a game with all your friends. This starter kit is $21.99, and that's in euros. I think that's a little. I think that. What is that in
you're gonna have to Google it. In Eagles, in freedom coins.
In freedom coins. I'm not sure, but it's not expensive. It's definitely worth it.
That's sick, man.
Isn't that awesome?
Dude, and think about it, like the way this is laid out.
They got a total party kit too. Check this out. And that's only $40, and that's 5 of them.
Nice. Dude, right? What's really cool about this is like if you so let's examine this for a minute. Let's really look at this design that they have. Okay? If you look at it, it is a like binded character sheet or a bound character sheet. So the likelihood that you're going to keep taking up space on the already taken up space table is not a thing. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, because that's always my problem. You remember all that crap I bring with me to game day?
Oh yeah, it's your maps, your minis, your your dice, your DM screen.
Check out the combat tracker. Combat tracker is pretty cool.
Oh, that's sick.
And that's the whiteboard part. I love it.
Beautiful.
It is. Look,
all right.
The zoom option.
Now, to be fair, I have gushed enough, but I mean that's really cool.
I'm really excited about this. I see you're like I've gushed enough, and I'm like, it's coming in the mail. It's gonna be here any day. Yeah.
We get to play Dungeons and Dragons the upgraded way.
So, if anyone's wondering why I call myself the Bard, is because anytime I get excited, I turn anything into like a little song, like I'm 2. And I'm definitely a large, hairy man.
That's beautiful.
I got told I was intimidating at work the other day.
That's hilarious.
I'm working in a school. I walked out of one of the teachers' lounges or whatever, and there was a group of kids, and the kid that was in front turned around and tried to go the other way to walk away from me, and he ran into the other kids.
That's awesome.
So, number 16 is a Chardalon.
Oh, wow. The easiest name to pronounce on this entire list.
Probably. One of the, if not the most ancient of the powerful red dragons. Not really too much to go into. You know, his memory lives on in a board game called Wrath of a Chardalon. Millennium ago, a Chardalon reigned supreme over the land. We got a lot to go over, and we've been going over these guys in depth. I didn't realize that we didn't even get to the good guy yet. I totally forgot. Number 15, Zugtomoy. Zugtomoy. Demon Queen of Fungi.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains why that's a face only a mother could love. All right, so
Bitch is ugly.
Demon Queen of Fungi. That means you're just a demon druid.
Lady of Rot and Decay.
Okay, so
she shares a lair in the abyss with Jubilex, the faceless lord, demon lord of slimes and oozes. So,
yeah, she's basically a fucking Golgari from from she's just a Golgari druid, necromancer, wizard, evil thing. Like,
Zaz Tam Zolkir of Necromancy.
yep, that guy's a cool. He's just a
This
cool.
one's cool. One of the most fearsome organizations in all of Faerun is the Red Wizards of the Magcrotic nation of Thay. And the Red Wizards were led by the Council of Zulkirs, the 8 powerful wizards representing each school of magic. Among this Zulkirs, the mightiest and most intimidating by far was Saz. I'm not going through his whole fucking name. And the ruler of Thay. That was still part of his name. That man's name is a whole sentence and a half long. That just chill out. That is extra.
Subtitle upon subtitle upon subtitle upon subtitle.
He's the kind of guy that when he enters the screen and he goes to talk, like his subtitle covers up half his face and the scene is ruined.
Oh yeah.
Saz Tam achieved the eternal life through lichdom, and thus he is the oldest of the Zulkirs. The Necromancer is also the commander of the Legion of Bone, an enormous army of the undead led by his vampire and lich generals. I think his whole thing is cool.
Necromancy seems a little broken, like at least as far as storytelling goes. Like I don't know if you've noticed, but half the motherfuckers on this list have some form of necromancy.
Yeah, but I think it's the trade-off. Like your character, if you choose necromancy, it kind of limits everything else you're able to do after that.
True.
Like you're not gonna.
But you can also raise an army.
True.
Like
here's that IUZ guy. The IUZ, the evil. I is evil.
Really? That was the subtext they gave him. The evil.
The old one. Iuz is the evil. Is a demigod of deceit, pain, and wickedness, oppression, and evil. And his symbol is a grinning human skull, or a human skull with blood red highlights. His other titles include Old Wicked, the Old One, his most profane eminence, Lord of Pain, Fiend of the North, Child of Evil One, Master of the Dread and Awful Presences, and Euse the Old. Euse is a half-demon born of the profane relationship between Iggs and Graz. Besides being a demigod, he has decided to make his home on Oerth, the planet of Greyhawk, where he rules the Empire of Iuz, a large realm in the northern part of Flanaess. He is basically originally described as a very handsome Cambion. His form was split into two when Graz attacked Iggs to free himself. One of the forms is an old man with a disgusting spittle that writhes. Never mind. And the other is a hulking 7-foot-tall red-skinned demon. So there's two parts of this guy. So, Kaz the Betrayer, number 12.
It's a sword.
The stories of Kaz and Vecna are deeply interconnected. Long ago, when Vecna was still mortal, Kaz is the most trusted lieutenant. He was rewarded for his services by Vecna, who gave him a sentient black metal sword infused with tremendous power. Kaz's strength grew up, and so did his hubris. His sword convinced him to betray Vecna. Kaz battled Vecna, and the fight was so ferocious that it left Vecna's tower in ashes, and both enemies were flung across the plains. Only the sword of Kaz remained in the medieval plain to remember of his. Only the sword of Kaz remained in the material plane to remember of his betrayal.
Okay, so let's stop here for a second. Let's examine this Vecna character, because I happen to think he is one of the cooler. Vecna is one of the cooler of the enemies, like or of the big bad named ones in D&D. Like, okay, so Vecna, when he was alive, he is crazy. Like, when he was alive, he grew up in humble beginnings, like as all warlords and awesome people do, like in any storytelling thing. But like, this guy is such a badass that when he became, or he first found out on his own how to become a lich. Then he tracked down the gods that imprisoned him for becoming a lich, gained their favor, and then killed them all. That's why he is the god of lichdom. Is
No
because, yeah, dude, he fucked everyone over. Like, like in the most baller way ever. He was like, "Yep, you're a piece of shit. I'm gonna outsource you." That's basically all that shit boils down to. And like, there's a reason why he is on this list to begin with, which we'll cover later. But yeah, Vecna is a fucking badass. Like, steals the secrets of becoming a lich and then kills all the liches that were liches before him. Pretty dope ass guy right there.
I'm loving it. So this guy
Manchun.
just kind of reminds me of one of the guys from Skyrim, or the mask situation from Skyrim, and you get all the masks.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Manchun the many-faced.
Yeah, that's
One of the most popular mages from the Forgotten Realms campaign setting is Manchun, the founder of the Zhentarim, until he was slain by Fazul, the Lord Orangutan? No, it's Aragoth in 1370 DR.
nope. It's orangutan from now on.
It's orangutan.
It's orangutan from now on.
Lord Orangutan. Things get interesting from this point on, since Manchun's paranoia led him to create dozens of clones of himself, all of which awoke at the moment of his death. So remember we talked a little while ago about Fajul constantly killing the clones of Manchun?
Yeah.
Well, evidently Manchun's clones woke up when he died. I guess they all thought they were him.
Oh God. See that being a problem.
3 of the clones survived in the end. One of them came back to Zetil Keep to serve as lieutenant to Fajul, and was killed during the Netherus invasion. The second one took refuge in the Undermountain with Hollister Blackcloak, and later died in the Spelage events. And the last one had awoken as a vampire and become the leader of the Night Masks of Westgate. He raised some undead followers and rebuilt the forces of Zhentarim, although they're just a shadow of their former power. Well, at least one of them made it.
A Sararak.
I like him.
This
I like
guy's
him a lot.
cool.
He is very fucking cool.
Yeah, so this guy is a lich that made the Tomb of Horrors. He basically has gotten to the point in his lichdom where he's learned everything that he can learn. He's done everything that he's gonna do. And now he built the Tomb of Annihilation, filled it with a bunch of crap that any adventurer would want, spreads rumors about the Tomb of Annihilation, and it's just a mega dungeon of death. Like, every room will kill you. Like, it's so cool.
I love it.
Like, but he's at the point where he's like, yeah, I got lichdom. I'm gonna fuck shit up now. I'm just bored, so I'm gonna torture people.
I've been alive for so long and I've done everything I can do. Now I'm bored.
Yeah.
Well, might as well fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Lord Soth, Knight of the Black Rose.
Dude, this guy is a fucking badass.
He's fucking brutal.
Yeah, him and Strahd get into
Soth.
it. Yeah, him and Strahd get into it in the books. And, like, they get on the cusp of killing each other. Like, Lord Soth is not somebody to be trifled with. And not to mention, he's a Death Knight.
Yeah.
Do you know what a Death Knight is?
I don't know what a Death Knight is. I was reading that he fell to become a Death Knight.
Yep. He is a Death Knight, and that basically means he is a lich fighter. This is what happens when you give the same thing to liches, but to a fighter. What's even more interesting about it is he did not do the ritual. He was cursed to be a Death Knight, which means he has no phylactery, which means you can't kill him.
Oh, I dig that. He's cooler than I thought he was.
Oh, yeah.
Here's Graz. Graz, the Dark Prince.
Oh, he's a ruler in the Abyss.
If you've been reading this list from the beginning, you probably heard this guy's name about a dozen times. Graz is one of the demon princes, standing amongst the most powerful demon lords of the Abyss. He is also one of the oldest and most reoccurring characters of the D&D universe, and with participation in many adventures and stories. The origins of Graz are uncertain. So screw him. He's a dick.
Deal with it. Look it up in the monster manual.
Look it up in the monster manual. He's a demon prince, and they are unsure about anything else.
Orcus is the same. He's a
demon prince.
Yeah, he's very much a blood for the blood god, fucking abyssal demon.
Blood for the blood god.
Yeah.
Skull for the skull throne.
Yeah, he's definitely blood for the blood god guy. Like at least D&D's version of it before, Games Workshop comes after us for making that reference.
I didn't finish it though.
What?
The whole thing. So I didn't finish it for a reason. Games Workshop, we love you. Please don't do that. Number 6, the dude you asked me about before the fucking show even started.
Oh, yeah.
Vecna, the Undying King. I love that it's just an eyeball and a decaying hand.
Oh, yeah. The eyeball and the decaying hand are a big thing. They're actually magical items in the player's handbook.
Present since the early editions of the game, the artifacts known as the Eye and the Hand of Vecna. They once belonged to the infamous Lich Vecna, maybe the most powerful necromancer to have ever stepped on the material plane. He reigned supreme on Oerth until Lieutenant Kaz betrayed him and severed the parts off his body. Oh, so yeah. Hand and eyeball.
Yeah. And so there was, for those of you who watch Critical Role, with Matt Mercer and his lovely bunch, there's actually an episode where
I love Matt Mercer, by the way.
Yo, dude, yeah. That speaking of gods, he is the god of DMing. It's Vic something, not Vic Migliana. Hang on, steals the to the scrolls.
To the scrolls.
Steals the hand of
to the Fapblit.
What is that fucking guy's name? Joe Manganelio. So it's Joe Manganelio. There's actually an episode or an interview after the episode where he steals the hand of Vecna. And what's really cool is he actually goes into an interview and he's talking about how like he played in True Blood, and so did the chick that played the young vampire or the recently turned vampire in that series. Anyway,
I never watched True Blood, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's a pretty good show. You should check it out. But anyway,
I
both of them
won't. I'm just being honest.
Hilariously enough, both of them were on set, but never on set together. So they never knew that one another actually played D&D until way after D&D's popularity started to spike with 5e.
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I love that that Henry Cavill has become like the it's okay to be nerdy front man.
Oh, for sure. Well, it's funny, like guys like Matthew Lillard, which is a famous actor as well.
I love Matthew Lillard. You shouldn't have to explain that.
Oh yeah,
that man guy has done so much.
It's crazy.
Zoinks, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like best Shaggy ever. But
yeah, well, you can't really take that away from Casey Kasem, man. Come on.
What do you mean?
Casey Kasem was the original voice of Shaggy.
Oh, I'm talking about like as far as like a movie thing. That's
But
like
he was
like
the only. Well, okay, I guess he wasn't. He was the only one to me. I forgot there was movies that came out after that because they don't matter because they're not real.
wow, you feel that strongly about it.
Oh yeah, dude. They just turned to garbage after that first movie.
I thought they were actually pretty good. Well, I thought the first one was really good.
The first one was really good. The second movie after that was
Cash grabs.
really, really bad. And then the one after that was really, really, really bad.
10-4. But anyway, I digress. The point is that there are a bunch of people in Hollywood that play DnD. So if you're wanting to be a famous
Like Vin
actor,
Diesel.
yeah, that blew my mind that guy was a nerd. There's also an episode of Critical Role with him.
Yep. I recommend watching it as soon as you finish this.
And they do one with Terry Crews.
Oh, I recommend watching that one before you watch the Vin Diesel one because that's funny. Oh my god, Terry Crews is amazing. That's my spirit animal. That's what I feel like deep inside.
He's what happens when you put too many points into strength and charisma.
100% what happens. That's also what happens when you go through a lot of personal trauma as a child. Makes you really funny. All right, so that's why we make the show. So number 5, something that everybody thinks they know something about, but they really don't.
Okay, this is pronounced the Demogorgon.
Thank you.
Not the Demigorgon.
Or the it's the Demogorgon.
Yeah, those things, the Demogorgons and Stranger Things are not the same thing. I'm just throwing that out there. Continue reading.
I love that the first thing this guy writes about, he said, if you're reading this text, I love that he uses Roman numerals. In the early 21st century, high are the odds that you hurt. I love that he is so bold to think that this is going to last that long.
It's funny that he actually...
Who is going to be reading this so much fucking later on? Anyway, I'm sorry, writer of this. I'm not intentionally
knocking
picking on you.
It's just funny.
You are, you have the kind of confidence I hope to have one day. High are the odds that you have heard about Netflix and the Stranger Things series. And this is the antagonist, the Demogorgon. This is not the antagonist. I love that he writes that, but it's not at all what it is. But this Demogorgon is like Orcus and Lolith, one of the most ancient and classical demons in the Dungeons and Dragons universe. He is the self-entitled prince of demons and the most powerful of them all, and pure embodiment of chaos and madness and destruction. Also called the sibilant beast, master of the spiraling depths, Demogorgon seeks to corrupt all that is good and undermine order in the universe, to see everything dragged howling into the infinite depths of the abyss, which is kind of a cool line.
Yeah, that's
his ultimate goal is to wipe out the multiverse and all forms of life in existence, including his own cultist, his two heads, Amael and Haleth Radia. So AA and Hay, yeah, that's what we're gonna call them. Yeah. Represent different personalities and seek to kill each other. If Demogorgon ends the world, they might devour each other and leave behind nothing but an empty cosmos. Saturday morning, kill them all. Asmodeus, supreme lord of the 9 hells. He's number 4. So this is the devil. This is Satan. This is bad. This is the bad guy that the Catholics worry about all the time. This is the guy, right?
Oh yeah, very much so.
When Asmodeus argues all the time that souls his devils collected serve a noble purpose, fighting the hordes of the abyss, protecting the multiverse from complete destruction and chaos, that all these souls were gathered following strict laws signed and agreed by the mortals, few entities in the multiverse can argue back against him. Such are his wits that he once walked unharmed into Mount Celestia, the lair of his enemies, using only his cunning words. He is literally what you would expect when you look at the Divine Comedy's definition of the devil. He's also referred to as an archdevil.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you have archangels and arch demons.
Right. Lolith, Queen of Spiders. This bitch.
I
knew
told
it
you
was
those things
coming.
are ugly.
God, she is so just hard to look at. That is a lot
There's
there.
a lot going on there, and most of it's legs. Like she's got legs for days.
Yeah, 8 of them.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm glad that we kept that going.
We did. As it happens with the Illitars, the Illithid, and the Drow, there's also an evil race exhaustively used as main villains in several adventures in D&D. And if the Drow are the bad guys that ruin everybody's days, Loth is the true antagonist behind Dark Elves, the queen of the demon web pits. Is not only a demon lord, but the goddess of the Drow spiders' trickery and lies. She is a cruel mistress who encourages a matriarchal society of slavery and dominance over the weakest. A giant half dark elf, half spider centaur of gross nastiness.
Oh yeah,
so much thorax there. Ugh. Here we go. Tiamat, the Dragon Queen. Somebody everybody's probably heard of. If you know anything about D&D, you probably heard Tiamat's name once or twice.
Oh yeah. She's the beast of them. She's the beasts of the dragons. But surprisingly, she's an evil god.
The evil goddess of chromatic dragons and enemy of her brother Bahamut, god of metallic dragons. She is a tyrannical mistress with an arrogant, greedy, and vain personality. She loves hoarding treasures bought by her servants and keeps one consort of every type of chromatic dragon at all times. So, she's a big multi-chrome dragon whore.
Hydra.
Moving on. Hydra whore. Whatever.
Count Strahd von Zarovich.
Do you see now why I agree with this list?
Oh my god, I love this guy.
So coming in at number 1 is somebody that me and JB both absolutely love as a baddie. Strahd von Zarovich, the first vampire.
So this guy, I'm gonna gush for a minute.
Go ahead, have at it.
So this guy has the coolest fucking story as far as evildoers go. And what's funny is he's not really so much of an evildoer as he is just an antagonist to the party when you play D&D. So like this guy, okay, so I read all the books that this guy was featured in, but to be really interesting, him being his own character started out in 2nd edition when they wrote for him and they turned him into who he was. He was originally in one of the books in 2nd edition as a random monster that felt soulless and weird in that arena. So they took that vampire and wrote a story about him. If you really want to get the good details and the meat and the potatoes of this character's backstory, I highly recommend you go out and read or listen to on audiobook, as I do, I Strahd, Memoirs of a Vampire by P.N. Elroy. The books are awesome. But anyway,
good. Very, very good.
To summarize this guy's backstory, he never wanted to become a vampire. He was cursed into being a vampire. Not only that, but inside of his domain, which is Ravenloft, his palace is a prison that he cannot escape. And he tortures adventurers because he's once again bored. But this guy has so many more dimensions to him, and he is such a good character. I highly recommend that you read I Strahd, Memoirs of a Vampire. It's so good.
They just last year brought out Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, which was a second, like a return to Strahd.
Oh yeah,
and it's meant to give you more of a different angle. So instead of coming in guns blazing, it's meant for you to be more question. It's supposed to be less battle, more story, and it's good. It's really good.
If you read these books that I'm telling you about, the I Strahd books by P.N. Elroy, if you read these books and you don't sympathize with this guy and don't be like, all right, maybe he's not that bad of a person. Like,
he's not. He's just you would be in the same position at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the centuries.
Oh yeah, if I had to watch my loved one die every time she was reincarnated every 16 years, if I had to watch her die every 16 years and not be able to save her, plus I have to do some bullshit arena fights with the planes next to me, my house is my prison, like,
screw all of that.
yeah. Like, at no point does he ever take his ferocity to an extreme. Like, even the worst things he's done, which in my opinion, the like cold-heartedest, baddest ass thing that another human being can do to another, he takes an old enemy that screwed him during a war campaign, turned him into a vampire, and then buried the guy alive in a tomb, starving to death. Like,
damn.
Yeah, he sealed off that guy's casket so he could never get out of it. So he's literally just sitting there, awake and hungry, all of the time in total darkness for the rest of eternity.
Yeah, that sucks.
Strahd's a badass, bro. like Strahd is my favorite character in all of D&D lore.
I love it. Ooh, look at that picture.
Oh yeah. So handsome devil, but yeah, he is a badass, and he is not to be trifled with. He is fun. And I think that concludes the list, at least.
It does indeed. Well, I appreciate everyone hanging out with us this afternoon.
We love you guys. That was super awesome.
That was very awesome. And we urge you to go check out www.rogueandbard.com.
Yeah. Get you some awesome D&D in your life. Like,
let me make sure that I get all those links put down there where they go. And you guys have a good night. Make sure you pay your tabs and tip your bartenders. Have a good one.
Have a good night, guys.
You don't have to go, but you can't stay here.